The street lamp stands like a giant with one red eye in his head. Which figure of speech is being used here? Right choice. Simile is the best answer. When considering vocation, we should look to Jesus as our guide. This is why we may refer to him as perfect. The Good Shepherd is the correct choice. Saida was playing with her doll nearby, and she heard her mother's a dash, but kept calm. Solid response. Lament is a valid choice. Complete the sentence. The street lamp stands like a dash with one dash in its head. Right again. Giant red eye is a valid answer. Complete the sentence. The child sees the gardener through the dash of the house. On track. Gate is the correct answer. The church teaches us that, as humans, we naturally seek out that which is true. Good, beautiful is the right answer. Sir, I can't stay back. I've given my word to Saida, who said these words. Exactly. The little ray makes sense, and it is right choice. Whom does him refer to in this line? There is nothing to hurry him on. Sharp thinking. The hawker is the right choice. Saida's mother was poor, so she sold a few dash to pay the doctor's fee. Clear logic. Your choice trinkets is sound and 100% true. Rabindranath Tagore was one of the greatest writers in which literature? Or excellent choice. Modern Indian literature is the right answer. The child noticed that the gardener was punished for digging the ground. Valid point. False is true. What is the name of the place where one studies to become a priest? Well reasoned. A seminary is the correct choice. Which one of these is a tool of the gardener, mentioned in the poem? Good job. Your answer, spade, works well here. The boy wanted to sleep at night. Is this statement true or false? You're right. False is the correct answer. Which of the following is essential for discerning a vocation? Great thinking. Prayer is the right choice. At what time in the afternoon the poet came back from school? You got it. Your choice, 4:00 in the afternoon, is right. Persona saw a watchman in the morning while going to school. Strong choice. False is the right answer. Which one of these is a tool used by a gardener in the poem? Smart move. Spade is an accurate answer. How did the street lamp stand like according to the poet? Nice selection. Giant is the correct and valid answer. What does the narrator compare the watchman's lantern to? You chose giant with one eye. And it is correct. The child returned from the school within the afternoon. Correct response. True is the most accurate answer. What does the phrase take to task in the above mean? Smart pick. Rebuke is the correct choice. He was digging the bottom continuously with his hands. Nice work. You chose false, and it is correct. The poet returns from school at dash in the afternoon. Excellent. 4:00 is a brilliant choice. At night, while sleeping in bed, the poet sees the dash. Well picked. Watchman is the correct answer.
What was the name of the school that Tagore founded?
Nicely done. World Bharti outside Calcutta is a solid answer.
The hawker passes his time dash.
Well done. Lysoli is the right choice.
What does the word bake in the above stanza mean?
Bravo. Feel very hot is the answer.
Which of these people the boy does not see working?
Great job. Fisherman is the accurate answer.
What is the sound the speaker hears in the morning?
Good thinking. The gong sound is the right answer.
What does the word chasing in the extract mean?
Solid response. Going after is a valid choice.
Tagore's school became a university in which year?
Good thinking. 1921 is the right answer.
Tagore started to compose poems at the age of dash.
You got it. Your choice 8 is right.
The root meaning of the word vocation is called.
Nice selection. Culling is the correct and valid answer.
While returning from school, the poet meets dash.
You chose gardener, and it is correct.
At what time does the gong ring in the morning?
Correct response. 10 is the most accurate answer.
Whom do he meet every day on his way to school?
Perfect. The hawker is the correct choice.
What does the poet desire throughout the poem?
Bravo. Freedom is the answer.
When does the child come back from the school?
Correct. 4 in the afternoon is the right answer.
Rabindranath Tagore was born in a dash family.
Great job. Wealthy and well-known family is the accurate answer.
What is the time the poet walking for school?
Well reasoned. 10 o'clock is the correct choice.
Every day I meet the hawker crying, dash.
Nice work. You chose bangles, crystal bangles, and it is correct.
This was a fair held on the occasion of dash.
Well done. 8 is the right choice.
Who used to cry, bangles, crystals, bangles?
Excellent choice. Hawker is the right answer.
When the mother sends him to bed, the poet is.
Right again. Unhappy is a valid answer.
At what time does the boy see the gardener?
Exactly. 4 in the afternoon makes sense, and it is right choice.
The street lamp has been compared to a dash.
Nicely done. Giant is a solid answer.
What does the gardener dig the ground with?
Valid point. Spade is true.
What did the bangles seller cried on road?
Strong choice. Bangles, crystal bangles is the right answer.
What was the watchman holding in his hand?
On track. Lantern is the correct answer.
What does the speaker value most of all?
Excellent. Freedom without authority is a brilliant choice.
Whom did he see through the open window?
Great thinking. Watchman is the right choice.
When does the gong sound in the morning? You're right. 10 is the correct answer. Who is the poet of the poem of Vocation? Smart move. Rabindranath Tagore is an accurate answer.
The speaker seems to be disgusted with. Sharp thinking. The discipline is the right choice.
What the people speaker meet are doing.
Right choice. Doing their work is the best answer.
At the age of 70, Tagore took up dash. Clear logic. Your choice painting is sound and 100% true. How did the poet used to go to school?
Good job. Your answer by walking works well here.
Who is a hawker?
Smart pick. Bangle seller is the correct choice.
What does the street lamp look like?
Well picked. A giant is the correct answer.
The poem Vocation is written by dash.
Smart pick. Rabindranath Tagore is the correct choice.
Rabindranath Tagore was a dash poet.
Right choice. Bengali poet is the best answer.
To what is every disciple called to?
Good thinking. Holiness is the right answer.
When does the watchman come on duty?
Well done. When the child sleeps is the right choice.
The lane is dark and lonely because...
Good job. Your answer it is night works well here.
Where was Rabindranath Tagore born?
Right again. In Calcutta is a valid answer.
Which family does Tagore belong to?
Nice selection. Prominent Bengali is the correct and valid answer.
Here the child wants to become dash.
You got it. Your choice, a gardener, is right.
When all seem free, the poet feels...
Correct response. Envious is the most accurate answer.
Where does the boy see the hawker?
Clear logic. Your choice on the school lane is sound and 100% true.
When does the small boy come home?
Excellent. 4 is a brilliant choice.
What does the hawker cry every day?
Strong choice. Bangles, crystal bangles, is the right answer.
At night, the poet wished to be dash.
Perfect. Watchman is the correct choice.
What is the meaning of vocation?
Smart move. Occupation is an accurate answer.
Who is the narrator in the poem?
Nicely done. A schoolboy is a solid answer.
What doesn't the boy wish to be?
Excellent choice. Fisherman is the right answer.
What is the moral of this story? Well reasoned. To appreciate everyone's vocation is the correct choice. What is the hawker selling here?
On track. Bangles is the correct answer.
In the morning, the poet is dash.
Great job. Walking to school is the accurate answer.
Who is speaker in poem Vocation?
You're right. Rabindranath Tagore is the correct answer.
What does he carry in his hand?
Great thinking. A lantern is the right choice.
Who is the author of this poem?
Bravo. Rabindranath Tagore is the answer.
Poet saw gardener at what time?
Well picked. 4 p.m. is the correct answer.
The uncle instructed them dash.
Sharp thinking. Not to buy anything is the right choice.
Gets bakes in the sun or dash?
Nice work. You chose gets wet, and it is correct.
Whom did the child first meet?
Exactly. A hawker makes sense, and it is right choice.
The Festival of Aid had dash. Solid response. A big show is a valid choice. Who is the poet of his poem? You chose Rabindranath Tagore, and it is correct. The hawker passes time dash. Correct. Leisurely is the right answer.
What was the hawker crying?
Valid point. Bangles, crystal bangles, is true.
What does the hawker sell?
Excellent choice. None of the above is the right answer. Hawker had a fixed routine. Well done. False is the right choice. How is the lane at night? Perfect. Dark and lonely is the correct choice. When does the gong sound? Clear logic. Your choice 10 in the morning is sound and 100% true. Who sends him to the bed? Correct. Mother is the right answer. The call to holiness is sharp thinking. Universal is the right choice. What does vocation mean? Nice selection. Profession or work is the correct and valid answer. Who did he meet second? Smart move. A gardener is an accurate answer. Who is selling bangles? You chose hawker, and it is correct. The watchman swings his? On track. Lantern is the correct answer. Who is the speaker? Solid response. A small boy is a valid choice. Tagore died on dash. Bravo. 7 August 1941 is the answer. Who is the poet? Nice work. You chose Rabindranath Tagore, and it is correct. Gong is dash. You got it. Your choice, a flat bell, is right. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format? Strong choice. Contact Narayan Changda on Facebook is the right answer.